What is up, everybody? This is Anthony with VR 365 and VR Roundtable. And you know what? It is April 30th. This is the day we were waiting for. Oh my goodness, what a crazy, crazy day. This has been a roller coaster ride to be sure. I mean, my mind is absolutely swirling with so many different things simultaneously, so many different feelings, so many different opinions of everything. And it's good that we've got Steve in the building, and this is kind of like a cross episode. So we're both on VR Roundtable and VR 365 simultaneously. Steve Bishop, what is the latest, bro?
Nothing much. I decided not to go live with the VR Roundtable side, so everyone just stay here on VR 365, and then
Okay.
I'll post this to VR Roundtable. So no double live. I think we struggle enough just living one thing. I don't think we needed to complicate it with two, but everything's good. So I was happy to get on and talk about something today because I'm pretty excited about the index stuff. So it worked out.
Yeah, it's good to. I mean, you probably want to talk about this. You know, people want to talk about this. This is crazy. Okay, so here's what we're going to do, guys. I thought the best way for us to do this, and let me get off this dumb trailer. I just threw that on there for the sake of it. Let me just grab a different trailer, miscellaneous trailer for now. Um, just get a miscellaneous trailer here. But basically, what we're going to do here is I thought the best way to cover all the crazy things that have happened today is to kind of do it in a chronological order. So, first off, Steve, like coming into today, like what was your expectations? You know, I talked to Sebastian last night. We had this like incredibly long stream that was really cool, but it was like terrible for the first 50 minutes. And we talked about all our theories on what was going to happen today. Number one, did you think you were buying a Quest today? Did you think you were buying a Rift S today? Like, what did you think was going to happen with the whole F8 thing?
Well, I did think I was buying something. Like it's bonkers to me that neither of these headsets from Oculus are out yet. Because if you go back, like you go back to the hype of PAX East, and they were inviting other content creators and all this, and then they kind of hyped it up. They made a big deal, and then again, like I was getting text messages from the Oculus app and crap telling me about the keynote, and they were making it a big deal, like it was going to be a big VR thing, and what we got was talking about VR for like 5 minutes or whatever it was, way at the end, and it seemed like there was going to be something more to it. And I was kind of interrupted with work between the stream, but as far as I know, we didn't even learn anything new. Like there was no like game announcement. There was nothing. The only thing we learned from this was the pre-order date.
Well, you know, speaking of the F8 thing, because what I did was I was at work. I was actually working like as the whole thing was happening. And, you know, I got to do my work, but I can. I have my phone right there, and I will use my phone to listen to stuff on YouTube. For example, I listened to the Stranger Things. No, Virtual Strangers, the podcast Virtual Strangers. Another good episode, guys. Much love to Mame Fan and Lethal Weasel and I Am Roots and Alex. Much love to you guys. I love your show. I got to listen to that in the morning, and then it was getting close to 10 a.m., you know, the start of F8. And I was like, well, where am I going to watch this? So I knew that Virtual Reality Oasis, Mike was doing a live stream over there. So I hopped over there and I caught it over there. But the thing is that I didn't watch, like, I still haven't seen the entire F8. So there might have been some VR stuff because, like, Mike, you know, he was kind of bouncing back and forth. He was doing like an unboxing. Are you sure that you've seen everything for F8? Like, have you watched a replay of it, or do you need to, like, maybe later check out the whole thing just to see if you missed something?
I'm gonna check it out, but I got sidelined by the index stuff, and I started paying more attention to that. So I feel like I browsed Reddit and I kind of looked in all the places, and I don't remember seeing anything new really about the Oculus Quest or the Rift S that has surfaced today, other than knowing that they're going to ship on the 21st. I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
did you see anything else? You didn't, did you?
I mean, well, we we've found some stuff out by osmosis, really. Like Chronos is coming, like there's a number of games that have been confirmed that maybe we didn't know about. And there's like a list on Upload VR. They have a list of like the download sizes. I don't know if you saw that article where it has all the different games and it has the actual download sizes of them. But God, there's just so many things to think about talking about. Because I mean, I could ask you right now, like Steve, were you going to get the 64 gig version? Were you going to get the 128 gig version? Like, if you could have bought it today, which one were you going to grab?
Knowing me, I would have gone the 128. I'd like to say I'd done the 64, but I feel like I would have gone for the 128. In fact, I did. I went ahead and locked in a pre-order from Amazon because they don't charge until it ships, and that's kind of my backup. I'm still going to try to go and get one on, I guess, the 21st, if they're in Best Buys on the 21st. So I'll try to buy one in person, but I went ahead and just in case there's an issue of scarcity or something, I locked one in on Amazon.
Yeah, I thought, what should I do about that? And my plan is actually, I think this is working out great for us, Steve, like from that standpoint, because I think the vast majority of people are going to order it on Oculus.com or Amazon or whatever. They're going to pre order now. And I'm perfect. I honestly see the thing about ordering it from Amazon, it's been my experience. Amazon will deliver on May 21st, but they might not deliver until 9 p.m. on May 21st, because that's been my experience with a lot of Amazon things. Like, for some reason, when Amazon brings stuff to my house, they wait till like the very freaking end. And, so it's like I would rather just go to Best Buy at 10 a.m. or Walmart or, there's going to be multiple places that
Right.
have these things, and I don't think it's going to be too much of a problem.
That is my plan. That's what I did with the Go. But when you got time to react, when I can't go in the store and buy one, but I can still tick that little pre-order button on Amazon, I was like, I got nothing to lose. Like I don't want to, early bird worm some story there. Like I didn't want to miss out and somehow fumble my way to not being able to get one on launch day.
Okay. So going back to F8 though. So we were listening to it live. Zuck was doing his thing. He was talking about privacy for a long time, which was 100% like I didn't have a problem with any of that. This is not Oculus Connect 6, it's F8. I'm almost embarrassed by how much they talk about VR and AR and these kinds of things, because I would think a lot of people there that are just like regular developers that do things on Facebook that have nothing to do with any kind of VR thing, they're probably like, what is all this VR crap? It seems like they're given an unusual amount of time to VR. So I wasn't shocked at all by how long it took. In fact, I was surprised they got to VR as fast as they did. And then, of course, Zuck, I could kind of hear it in his voice. I was like, oh, damn it, this thing isn't going to happen right now, because he said something about, we're going to be launching. Like, he wouldn't have said we're going to be launching if it was happening that day. There was something he said. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something like that. And then, of course, he says, May 21st or whatever he said. And then everybody there got a free freaking Oculus Quest, Oprah Winfrey style. And it was funny because we were speculating about that prior to it, and everybody kind of thought, no, people aren't going to get a free one, because yeah, people got a free Go, but that's $200. This is $400, and they're giving away like, I don't know, a couple thousand of them, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's not, to me, that's not a big deal. In fact, I think that's kind of a good sign that they gave so many away. It suggests that they may not be stock crunched, and it's a good gesture, and you get whoever's there talking about it and tweeting and blogging about it. So it's fine. I also went to Best Buy this morning at opening at 10 a.m. I was traveling between two facilities, and it worked out. I'm like, hey, I can be at a Best Buy when they open just in case. So once I got to the Best Buy this morning at 10 a.m., I walked in. They didn't have the new display set up, and I asked the guy there, and he's like, oh, I don't know anything. And it was like at that point, like I didn't have to wait for F8. I knew that I wasn't going to get my hands on one that day. And we'd had the rumors yesterday that it was going to be May 21st or somewhere around there. So it ended up being what we thought it would be.
Did you hear about the guy on the Oculus Quest subreddit that like guaranteed he was going to eat a sock and all that?
He
And
got one.
yeah, yeah. Does that bother you at all? It bothers me a little bit. It's like, God damn it. I'm a freaking guy that spends all this time on this shit. I can't get a free quest, and yet somebody says they're going to eat a goddamn sock and they get a free quest.
I mean, it is kind of stupid. I don't know, like the way that these companies look at marketing and PR and stunts. It's just sometimes it doesn't make any sense. And like I feel like, personally, now if I'm just speaking about me personally, I guess I'm a content creator because of VR Roundtable. I don't really identify necessarily like as a YouTuber or anything, but I would like to tell myself, I don't know that I'd actually go through it, but I'd like to tell myself that I wouldn't take free crap. Like, all I want is access. Give me the opportunity to buy one early. Like, give me the opportunity to get one early so I can review it and I get that value out of it. So give me access, but I'm not necessarily looking for stuff for free. So yeah, it's weird that like we're basically free marketing for them, but like they don't seem to care, unless you're certain people of a certain look or style or something, you know.
Or maybe it's just the YouTube number, man. Maybe it's just the subscriber number. But the good news is that we don't get this stuff for free. We are objective, you know what I mean? Like we're not bought and paid for. But at the same time, like if I did get an email that said, Anthony, do you want a free quest? I'd be like, yeah, sure, I'll take it. But no, I didn't get one. So I will remain free and objective and I will not be swayed. But yeah, so we heard about the announcement May 21st. I got to ask you, Steve, is it kind of amazing that they've left that retail channel dry as can be for all this time, all the way to May 21st? God damn it. They're taking a bit of a hit. I mean, but there's no other headset that anybody's buying right now. It's too bad. Like you would think somebody would try to take advantage of this. Samsung, I don't know, somebody. But it's kind of crazy they're leaving that channel dry so long.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of the reasons why I would have said, you were crazy if you told me back in late March at GDC that the Rift S and the Quest weren't going to launch till late May. I would have said no freaking way, especially the Rift S. I would have said no freaking way because Rifts are sold out. Like it just makes no sense to keep your channels essentially empty for 2 months. Is really what that's going to boil down to.
Yeah, yeah, it's real surprising. Okay, another thing is like in the unboxings, like what do you call it? Mike, Virtual Reality Oasis, he unboxed both a Rift S and an Oculus Quest, and did not mention any kind of free pack-ins at all. Are you at all surprised that like no games are included with these things? I mean, I'm not 100% positive that nothing will be included because maybe his particular versions don't include anything, but maybe the final retail versions do, or maybe there's some kind of like something else that goes along with it. But it seemed like there's no games included with either one of these babies.
On this, my gut is that there's something wrong there because I think when you have a product, you want to know that the people get it home and have something to play. Now, I look at the Nintendo Switch. I don't have one. I've not unboxed one. I don't know that it comes with anything. Um, my my memory of all the consoles and stuff over the years was that you got something. Either there was demos, there was something that you could get, so that when you opened that thing up on Christmas morning or whatever, you had something to play. Now, part of it's Christmas, like because if you don't, you couldn't, if Nintendo didn't include something on a Christmas morning, you couldn't drive to the store and buy a Nintendo game because it was Christmas. So I don't know. Like, I do think that if Oculus, I don't think they necessarily put anything in the box. We know with the Rift with Touch that at some point they started unlocking the content when you registered your touch controller. So it could be when you register or sync the HMD to your Oculus account that it unlocks some software. So I
Yeah,
think it's less of a deal with Rift S because there's still going to be like Lucky's Tale and the free stuff on the store. But on the Quest, I'm hoping that there's something free on the store that people who don't necessarily have a game in their account or something already, they can do something.
a gaming science teacher in chat says that Quest is coming with 5 demos. And I did hear, I believe I heard Mike mention something about how there's a couple demos on it, of some smaller games that he had never heard of or something. I'm pretty sure he mentioned that. So there apparently are a few demos that are going to be on there. So that's good. Um, Man, let's see what else. I mean, I'm just thinking about like that, the unboxing and stuff. One of the big negatives that I heard today was about the Rift S. The padding of the Rift S apparently is like glued to the actual headset itself, and the foam padding is wonderful. I put the thing on at GDC. I mean, it is a pillow extraordinaire. But if you are like an exercise VR gamer, if you're like a Creed person, if you're a Beat Saber person that gets hot and sweaty, that's going to be a bit of a problem, man, because that foam is going to get soaking wet. And I just thought, this foam is great, but they really need to have, like, you need to be able to order like a pack of 10 where you have like foams that you can swap out. And I was really disappointed by that.
I haven't paid too close attention. I know when I saw the Rift S at GDC that it's that whole assembly. Like if you're talking about the face portion, I know you're talking about the back. Yeah, I mean,
The back and the
I s
forehead part, basically.
yeah, like it. I think they said it was gonna. I thought the forehead part was. Oh, you're talking about the upper part of the halo
Yeah,
on the forehead. Yeah.
yeah. And then
We'll see if
also,
VR cover can come up with a solution somehow.
well, yeah, I mean, VR cover is going to have covers that are going to go over it, but not something that you pop out and replace, as far as I know. But
Well, they have a solution for the deluxe audio strap that does all the other foam, like that cradles your head in the back and stuff. They have replacement covers that get into all of that. Now, I don't know that HTC necessarily set out to make that stuff easily swappable. I personally haven't looked into it. I have not done it with my deluxe audio strap. But VR cover, if they can, I think they'll try, and because they've gone beyond just doing facial interfaces. They try to make accessories for all over the thing. I'm surprised they're not doing headphone covers and everything else.
yeah, okay, you know what? Let's just stop beating around the bush. Let's just go ahead and get right into the Valve Index. Okay, so I'm watching Mike's channel and he's doing these unboxings and people start talking in chat about Valve Index, Valve Index, Valve Index. And I'm thinking, oh, these are just trolls. I mean, it's happened a million times. I've been doing this show, and somebody will pop in chat. Valve Index just announced. People do that. Like people screw around, right? So I'm listening to this live, and Mike's mentioning every once in a while that people in chat are talking Valve Index, and he's thinking that they're just trolling him, which is what I thought too. But then Paradise Decay is the moderator in chat, and Paradise is like, no, Mike, this is true. There really is Valve Index. And I was like, what? Are you freaking kidding me? And so I'm at work while all this is happening. So I just pause my little work thing and I go to our work browser, which we're not really supposed to look at stuff like that. But I popped on Upload VR, and there's all this Valve Index stuff, there's prices and everything, and I'm like, oh my god, I did not, because I was not expecting this at all. I was not expecting this at all, because May 1st, May 1st, May 1st. What a genius level troll by Valve, because they dropped this like 5 minutes before the freaking.
It was a little before. I think it was 15 to 20 minutes is when I first saw it, and because I had streams open and I'd made sure that I was kind of on my lunch break and I was prepared to catch some news, and then I'm seeing all the index stuff. So it was very close. I'd say it was a very Game of Thrones maneuver. It was staged. It was political. You'd asked me last week on VR Roundtable if Valve, intentionally did this. Well, there's no question now. Like they're intentionally going for the throat, in the when you play the Game of Thrones, you play to win or die, and Valve's not playing. Like they're being very intentional, and I love it. Like as a consumer, like I just absolutely love when companies just put things out there like that, and they're just like they're pulling no punches. It's like you get a good product and you also get some entertainment.
Yeah, so let's just go ahead and get into this Valve Index discussion. So first of all, I mean, one of the first things that's got to jump out at you is the pricing of it. And the pricing is interesting from the standpoint that you can get the headset a la carte for $500, which is kind of like what you were talking about, like Nostradamus Jr. I pass you the throne, because I think you said, maybe the headset by itself for 500. Of course, my prediction was the full bundle, $799. I'm actually $200 short.
Oh.
It's $1,000 for the full bundle. And so it appears like there's every possible option here in terms of how you want to get this. And it's an interesting discussion to have about the price because it depends on where you're coming at this thing. Like you happen to have 2 base stations. You have because didn't you get that because of your Pimax, right? You had to go buy a used Vive. So you're kind of in a little bit of a different situation, but somebody like me, all that stuff is gone. I have nothing. I'm starting from scratch and it's like $1,000. Wow. I mean, I wasn't ridiculously surprised, but I was mildly surprised. I was like, whoa, $1,000.
So I was surprised. I was surprised as well because basically, if you look at I think I was pretty close, like you said, on the headset, and the headset is about what I was thinking. Like it wasn't. I I think I said I really don't think it's got one of the 21 by 60 by 2160 displays in there. I felt like that they weren't going to do too much in terms of the headset itself, but that it was going to be a quality device. Where my prediction fell flat, and I feel like I had a good reason for making the prediction I did the way I did, is that basically they kept the pricing of HTC in play when it comes to the cost of the base station and the cost of the controllers. Now you can argue that the Knuckles controllers are doing more than the Vive ones, and therefore maybe they should be more expensive. But that is where the cost is. Like $150 per base station. So and I'm thinking like, why would they want to do that? Like because they're going to make more money off of every bundle than HTC ever did, at least of the base Vive. And my thought is maybe they don't want to necessarily piss HTC off, or maybe they have another partnership lined up with, that LG headset that I think we'll be talking about forever until if it ever surfaces. But like if you're Valve and you have partners with HTC, LG, Pimax is a partner, even though they may not be as mainstream, you don't want to sell a Steam 2.0 base station for $80 when they all have to sell it for 130, 150. So like that can kind of it becomes a conflict of interest when you sell to a third party and you also sell direct to consumers. It would be like buying your Ford truck straight from the Ford factory instead of a Ford dealership. So maybe that's what they have going on there, but ultimately that's where I missed the mark in that on the pricing is I didn't think that they would price the stuff like HTC did, and they didn't necessarily have to because they're the ones that make the damn things.
Yeah, okay. So, in terms of the secret sauce, like that's one of the things that we were wondering about with this headset. And I had a feeling that there was going to be some game changing technology that was going to be in this thing. Gabe Newell, a long time ago, this was back when he was sitting on that table. They were drinking water bottles. There was like 4 of them there. They had that interview. I mean, this was like 2017 or something. And he was talking about in a couple of years, you're going to see ridiculously high refresh rates, 200 hertz, da 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 da. He was kind of talking about that a little bit. And I always remembered that. And I always thought, I do think refresh rate is probably one of the most under influenced, like we don't think about the refresh rate. But if you saw the tested video where they did a breakdown on this, and I'm sure you did. I mean, I know you did. And Norman Chan was talking about how when he was there, they put it at 144, the experimental, 144 hertz refresh rate. And I think he played Beat Saber in 144 hertz, right? And his explanation of it is that you don't have additional clarity. The visuals aren't improved, but what it is like he compared it to like being juiced up on caffeine, like just drinking a couple of Jolt Colas or something, because he's like like it's your sense of being in that world. It's the vibrancy of the world. It's the way things are moving around. It's the way you're moving around. And I really think this is going to be a game changer. I'm super excited for this. I think people out there that like we got people in chat that are like, "What the hell is Valve doing? They're out of their minds. What are they doing? It's crazy money. Why would they do this? This is absolutely insane." No, it's not insane, because one of the points I tried to make many times here is Valve, when they bring out this headset, this is their baby. This is their baby. They got one chance to bring this thing out. They bring it out, and as soon as they start manufacturing these in the warehouse and they start, putting them into boxes and it's a finalized thing, it's done. It's locked in stone. They've got all these other things that they would love to add to it, but that's all going to be put off. They got to think about that for the next headset. They're locked in stone with this. And my point is, this headset has to be viable for a solid 3 years. So when they're making this headset, they're not necessarily making it for June 28th, 2019. They're making it so that it is the right technology that is going to bring this industry forward for the next couple of years. And prices are going to come down. You can start your price off high, and then you can start to lower it. You can start to drop it. And I think not the 200 hertz, I wish, but the 120, 144, it can go down to 90, all these different ranges that it has.
Goes down to 80.
80. Okay. I think, I think it might be a game-changing feature. What do you think about what Norman Chan was describing about it?
I think it's valid. I don't know. I'm probably gonna like it. I'm not saying that it doesn't have value. One of the bigger problems we have in VR right now is performance and people having a good enough hardware. And even at these types of resolutions, 144 hertz is gonna be hard unless you're playing a game like Jet X, which just runs phenomenally smooth, or Beat Saber or something like that, and you're rocking, to play Beat Saber at 144 hertz. I don't think you're doing that necessarily on a GTX 970. Maybe you will. Maybe that game's efficient enough. But my point is like if you go into this Valve Index and you want to run most stuff at 120, 144 hertz, you better be packing a very high-end GPU, or be willing to undersample the resolution, because 144 hertz compared to 90, we can do that math. It's about 50% more. So is that a better trade-off than, actually it's a little more than 50% more, and is that a better trade-off than super sampling at all? So I don't know what is the better win necessarily, but I do like the idea that it's out there and that it's an option. Pimax lately, they've introduced, now they haven't gone faster than 90, but they released a PyTool update that lets you choose 72 hertz or 60 hertz, and I've been playing with that, and I think playing with frame rate is very interesting. One benefit, and I haven't seen a lot of people talk about this, is what happens with motion smoothing. You choose 120 hertz, but when you reproject, instead of reprojecting down to 45, you might reproject at 60. So there's some strategic advantages there. If they half it at 144 hertz, you're reprojecting at 72. I know last year when I was playing Fallout a lot, there were sections where my 1080 Ti couldn't maintain 90 frames per second. And when it drops down, it has to drop all the way to 45. So maybe my GPU could have maintained 72 frames a second. So if I was playing on 144 hertz, I would have been in a winning scenario there. So It's things like that. So I think it's going to be very interesting, and I'm excited to play with these faster frame rates.
You know what's going to be crazy is, okay, we're going to have lists of games. Like people are going to VR game rankings, like the best games that run at 144 hertz. You know what I mean? Like people are going to come up with lists of games that just run butter smooth at 144 hertz if you've got like a 1080 Ti or better. And you know whose stock probably should have shot up a little bit today? Nvidia and AMD, especially Nvidia, because think about it. The people that get this, like the hardcore enthusiasts, you, me, Gary, Chris, anybody, I mean, even like Mike from Virtual Reality Oasis, and people that maybe they've kind of been like, people think of them as Oculus people, but I think once everybody gets these things in their own houses and they start using it, and they get the feeling of, oh my God, this is like a new sensation. This is, everything just feels better. It feels better at 144 hertz. And then I think everybody's going to be looking and thinking, God damn it, 2080 Ti, here I come, or whatever else it is. You're going to, like, I'm already thinking I've got to upgrade my video card now. But I'm glad we're pushing this. And then the other thing about secret sauce, there's two other factors in the secret sauce. Okay, we got the low persistence of the screen, right? And what do you call it? John Carmack was talking about the Oculus Go screen and also the Rift S screen, how it's a low persistent LCD, fast switching, whatever, low persistence, right? Well, this screen, I don't know who Valve worked with for this screen, and apparently they're not talking about who's sourcing this screen for them, but I think they've got like an exclusive on this, or at least no other headsets that are currently known right now are using this particular screen, and the low persistence on this is even way lower than like the Go, the Rift S. I mean, this is kind of a game changer in terms of the milliseconds and all of that.
So I think the the original Vive and Rift were around 2 milliseconds persistence. Please, no one quote me too tight on this. I don't have any of these numbers in front of me. And then the Go, Oculus improved the Go, and then therefore the Rift S, they cut it in about half, down to 1 millisecond. The specs that I saw on the index has it at a half a second, so or half a millisecond, I'm sorry, or 0.33 milliseconds when it's running at 144 hertz. What that means for anybody that doesn't know what low persistence is, when the frame is displayed, so like at 90 hertz, the total frame time is 11 milliseconds. So a 2 millisecond persistent means that when the frame starts, the screen is on, you see the whatever you're looking at for 2 milliseconds, and then it's black for 9 milliseconds, and then the next frame begins. So the lower persistence, what that helps is it keeps any blur down. So if you're turning your head, you're not, none of the pixels are trying to smear and blur across each other. So it was a critical component going back into the very early days of VR that Palmer was working on, low persistence displays. It's one of the reasons why the Valve and the Rift used OLED, because LCD in low persistence wasn't available. Like we were sort of trained to think that we have to have OLED because of persistence. But since the launch and the development of those headsets, we now have low persistence LCD. You're seeing it everywhere now. You're seeing it with the Rift S. Carmack has said that, if they would have had this technology from the day the Quest began, that the Quest 2 would have had a low persistence LCD screen. The Pimax did it, and now we're seeing Valve do it. So we may be seeing more LCD screens from this point in the future till OLED can catch up.
What do you think about, well, actually, we should probably go to the third part of the secret sauce. And so the third part of the secret sauce is the compartment that's under there. And so we finally found out what that compartment was for. And I got to say, Nostradamus Jr., rise again, because one of the things I joked about is I said it's for a screen so that people can see you from the outside. And they actually showed, it wasn't like an actual LCD screen, but it was like, they had like words.
LED, Knight Rider.
Yeah, yeah. And I was like, oh my God, Nostradamus confirmed, baby. But actually what that little slot is going to be is it's basically a general expansion slot. And so they basically said, look, let's let people play around with this. Let's let people, whatever people can possibly figure out with this thing, let them figure out if they want to throw Elite Motion in there, if they want to try to do, I mean, I don't know what we can actually throw in there, but it's designed for experiments, right? And so I think Valve might actually, somewhere I heard, I can't remember which show it was now, but that we might kind of get a sample of some of the things that Valve has thought of in terms of things that you can put in there. I thought I heard maybe that at some point.
Yeah, in the tested video, they kind of said they hinted that this wasn't anything that we're going to see necessarily near term. That it's kind of Valve was paying respect to the modding community, and they kind of expect other people to take this idea and run with it. So I actually don't necessarily think that's secret sauce. Like I almost wonder that because it's not the least common denominator, that something like that may not be utilized that much. I think one of the other possible secret sauces are the canted lens, the canted displays that are just slightly off kilter a little bit instead of being perfectly horizontal. That's the kind of stuff that we don't think about it. Like we don't like we're not optical engineers, and we just kind of don't think of the geometry of drawing things in three-dimensional space necessarily. But these types of evolution and attempting to make vision just straight up more natural, because I mean our eyes, we don't deal with everything in a 2D plane being projected into our vision. So something as little as a little bit of cantination, I don't know if that's a word, can kind of maybe take it the next step as just being slightly more natural, just a step closer towards being just more natural, more comfortable, more feeling like you're not looking at a display. So I'm excited about that. Now I know the Pimax has the canted displays, but their lenses aren't, and that's a major tilt in. So the index is very different in that regard. But I think stuff like that shows that they have done their homework and they've kind of focused in on this optical path.
Yeah. Now there are some downsides here that we can talk about, and like the biggest downside for me, like one of the things that I heard that made me think, oh no, this is not good, is okay. And this goes back to the HP Reverb, and it goes back to Tested, talking to the the Hewlett Packard guy, and one of the things that the Hewlett Packard guy said is that they cheated on the overlap. They reduced the overlap to get this 115 field of view or whatever, to make this wider sweet spot. So hopefully they could get away with not, they don't need the IPD adjustment because they got this much wider sweet spot. And one of the things I've heard about the Valve Index is they've also reduced that overlap. And when you look at their IPD adjustment range, they do have a physical IPD adjustment range, but it's not as extreme. Like the max on the high side is 70, which and then the max on the low side is what, 58? I think it's 58 Yep. to 70. And so I think part of this was, they want to have this bigger field of view. One other thing we heard about the field of view is they're not going to come out and say the field of view is 135 degrees, because Valve basically believes that there's no standard measurement for field of view, and that it's a bunch of, it's just everybody's opinions on what the field of view is. And then also, there is the knob right there that's on the side there where you can move the entire lens thing, the screen and all of it. You can move it in or out. And for those of us, like, one of the things I've always talked about this is with an OG Vive, with the old school Vive, if you took off the retail face gasket, and I know it'd be painful to do this, but I encourage everyone that has an OG Vive, just try this for 5 minutes. With pain and all, just try it. Take off the face gasket, put that thing on your head where your eyeballs are practically touching the screen itself, and it's like you just instantly got like 20 degrees extra field of view. And I've always sworn by this, and people have always like, Like nobody ever really talks about that, but I'm like, one of the things I love about that OG Vive, you get your eyeballs up in there and it's like, wow, all this extra field of view. Now the downside was Fresnel lenses with all the freaking grooves, and those become even more noticeable because your eyes are closer to those outer edges. But this thing does, and don't you just want to pull that plastic tab off of there? I'm watching this video. I want to pull the damn plastic tab off. Who else in the audience wants to yank that thing off of there? It's bothering me that they keep moving it back and forth with the plastic there. But being able to move it closer, I think they said 1 centimeter in distance is equal to 20 degrees in FOV. Did you hear about that?
Yeah, it's generally true for a lot of headsets up to a point where like the on the screen there's only so much stuff being rendered. And once you hit that end, you won't be able to see any more. Shoving in any further, you'll just get more blackness on the side. So I don't know to what extremes if it's going to necessarily be like the Vive. The Vive was interesting. If you hear like how Palmer describes the way they design their eye box and everything, it definitely had that as a perk, but it came at a major cost of pixel per degree. Like the Vive and the Rift are the same resolution yet look very 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 different. So I like it'll be I don't. I don't know that there will be any way to know what the average person gains. If you haven't, you need to spend time with the real virtual FOV test. It's in Steam VR, or you can just run it on your desktop outside of Steam. But you walk up, you teleport to this node, and it locks you in. And then with the controller, either Oculus or Wand or whatever, these red lines come in, and you take them to the very, very edge of your field of view. And whatever that number is, that's the field of view that you measure with your eyes at that distance. And I was doing this back with the Rift and with the TP cast, so I could see how much FOV was lost. And if I took and I just crammed, I took all the face cushions and stuff off, took my glasses off, and just crammed that stuff in my face, I could see a subtle change in field of view. So that will be the only way we know. And each person would have, if they care, each person would have to do this to truly know what their field of view comparisons are from headset to headset to headset, because it's going to be different. You are going to get a slightly different field of view than what I'll get. And then even with or without my glasses, just because we have different noses, different eyeball sockets, and all that noise.
Yeah, all that. Main fan in chat, he says, my eyelashes already hug my Vive lenses. Can't get closer. And as he said that, I was like, well, get a lighter out, burn those puppies right off. And then main fan, like a little bit later, says, I seriously thought about cutting off my eyelashes. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I want the screens to freaking have intercourse with my eyeballs, practically, is what I want to have happen. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty crazy. Okay, so let's talk about the audio, because this is kind of weird. Okay, so one of the things that we heard about with the audio, this is before, obviously before we got this info dump, a lot of people were thinking that these weird, unusual looking headphones had something to do with like motion sickness or something, like they stimulated some part of. No, I mean, people were speculating that.
How stupid that sounds now, right?
It sounds stupid now, but at the time it was like, yeah, that's next generation. It's like it's stimulating your inner ear somehow, right? But what we're finding out about, what we found out about is, you often see videos where people are playing VR games and they have their headphones flopping out here, right? Like the Node guys or whatever, they're playing Boneworks and their headphones are kind of flopping out. And again, the OCD part of me is like, dude, slap those things down, get them back onto your ears. But now with this one, it's designed to stay like that. You don't put them on your ear. They don't actually touch your ear. They float a little bit outside of your ear, and it's basically a speaker, an external speaker that is floating outside of your ear. Now, people have talked about the spatial audio on this is kind of next level. In fact, Norman Chan mentioned Vacation Simulator, and like they brought all these people up to Bellevue, Washington, or wherever they went, where all these people got to test this out, right? And what's his name? The CEO guy of Alchemy Labs, he was there, and like he said, okay, I want you to listen for a sound, and I want you to point exactly where you're hearing the sound at. And that's like exactly where the sound was coming from. And so they're doing some next level stuff with this audio. But here's my problem with this. Okay, I already hear enough sirens, barking dogs, airplanes overhead. I really want to have a soundproof room, which I don't, but I'd love to have a soundproof room. Now you're telling me I'm going to have headphones that are like floating out here. So I'm going to like, at least these headphones, look at, they seal my ears, you know, they cut my ears, and I still hear freaking garbage trucks and delivery trucks and honking horns and car alarms and, you know, screaming cats, whatever. I mean, I hear everything. And now I'm going to have these headphones that are floating out like this. A little bit bothersome, but I don't know. What do you think about all that?
Just move out of the hood. You don't have to hear any of that stuff. Like I don't. I'm torn. Like I can't think of ever experiencing anything like this to know. Like Norm was positive on it in the tested video, and he kind of described it as basically not like headphones, but more like speakers that are just right there. So I don't know. Like I'm gonna have to experience it for myself. Like you, like I think I prefer isolation. Something that goes. I do not like earbuds. I do not like the way it does on the Oculus Go. I'm not gonna like that on the Quest and the Rift. I'm gonna want at the very least earbuds, even though I don't prefer earbuds. I prefer over the ear or at least on the ear stuff like the original Rift or what's on the deluxe audio strap or the Mantis Bionic Mantis clip-ons for the PlayStation VR. I don't know why all these companies feel so compelled to get away from headphones. Like, why is Oculus doing it? You can say cost is the reason. Okay, but why is Valve doing it then? Like, cost is $1,000 bundle. Like, cost shouldn't be the reason. So they must feel in some ways that this is a better overall design for the average people. And it does. Tested did clarify that there was well, the spec sheet also says there is an auxiliary headphone output. So if you hate the way this works, you'll be able to use your own headphones. But it just, I don't know. It just seems like one of those things no one asked for. It's like why change what works? Like invest the resources into improving all the other things where we know that there's room to improve. I don't feel like we have to reinvent headphones.
Well, I mean, I think the idea behind it is a great idea. I just think it depends on the environment that you're in, you know? And I think if you did live out in the country where, you know, there's not another house, like your next door neighbor is like 2 miles that way, you know, this would be awesome probably, right? But if you have I mean, I've said this before, if you could have a soundproof room and if you could have a pitch black room, you could kill all light, all external light that comes in. And so the only light that you would have would be the light from those glowing, beautiful screens, right? And the only sound that you would hear would be like the sound of your heartbeat and the freaking, you know, the headphones, right? And then that would be awesome. Like Microsoft apparently has this secret room. I mean, not a secret room, but they got like this special sound room that they use to like engineer things. And they mentioned that when people go into that room, they get really freaked out because they hear all these bodily noises that they've never ever heard in their entire life because it's so freaking quiet. And it's like, I want that room for my VR room. But it's crazy. Jim Hall in chat was like, you can use regular headphones. You can. But what I think about using regular headphones is like, but I'm missing out on this advanced spatial audio, brah. You know, if I use regular headphones.
I think people in chat are also saying that it helps down on heat issues, which is, I will admit, that's not something that I normally deal with. I have air vents blowing straight down on me. I have multiple air vents in this room, and I'm more often cold, even in the summertime, than I am hot. So I will admit that that's not something I normally think of when I think of over-the-ear headphones, and that is a big improvement if you can take away that contact from your skin. They say you lose a lot of heat and everything through your ears, so maybe having those open to the air will keep people a lot cooler. So good point, chat.
Yeah, that is legit. That is legit because you know what I did is when I got Beat Saber and also Audica, I have these big tower speakers that are over here, and I switched my Oculus setup to be front facing that way. And so if you're playing a game like Space Pirate Trainer or something where you're just, you're just here, right? And the sound is coming from there, I actually will sometimes, like, I disconnected my Oculus Rift headphones. I unscrewed them and just took them off. It was kind of summertime and it was hot. And, so it worked out great because, yeah, it is a lot cooler. Okay, one thing we haven't mentioned here is LCD. So these are LCD screens. Also, the resolution. We didn't really talk about the resolution too much. So, are you disappointed at all? Because I know MRTV, he talks about this all the time as far as, those inky blacks and the colors that pop. He talks about how the Rift S, you got the grays, the blackish grays, and all of that. So we're looking at an LCD here. Also, the resolution is at Samsung Odyssey Plus and Vive Pro levels is what the resolution is, but we got this wider field of view that you're spreading it all across, right? Unless somehow the tricks of the lenses, it doesn't, like the PPD, are we going to get actual PPD numbers? But what's your opinions on like LCD and the resolution?
It, I I prefer clarity. It doesn't bother me per se on the Pimax. It didn't bother me on the Go. I think I all day, every day, I would choose the increased subpixels and just the overall look of the LCD pixel arrangement over the OLED pentile arrangement. That said, it's not like I don't want inky blacks or deeper colors. I do want those things. So part of me had hoped when I'd heard that the resolution, this is prior to today, with all the rumor mills, when I'd heard that this was likely a 1440 by 1600 per eye display, part of me went to Sony and I'm like, man, maybe Valve pulled it off and we're going to get RGB OLED. Like I was thinking that was going to be like one of their main key differences, and know that it is an RGB LCD. So I'm not mad at it. Like, I just, it I think it's better in general. It's not better in every way. It's better for me, not necessarily better for you or better for the guy down the street who may focus more on the black levels or whatever. It sort of is what it is. Now, I am interested in the lower persistence and if it manifests itself as being overall dimmer. When you have lower persistence, and it's something that I learned not too long ago, I never really thought of brightness in that way, but because the screen only stays lit for now a fraction of a millisecond, and then you got all that time dark, it may appear less bright. So it'll be interested to see ultimately what the experience is if you compare it side by side with like a Rift S or a Pimax, all LCD screens. Like, will there be, with this lower persistence, will it feel dimmer in a way?
Hey, did you know they have the actor from Lost in this little video here? Naveen or whatever, the guy with the curly
No,
hair.
I see it now. I did not realize that was him.
No, it's not him, but it looks like him, doesn't it?
Oh.
It looks dead on him. I mean, I don't think it's him, yeah. Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying, but the colors, the vibrant colors, I think that gets lost in the wash. I think a lot of people forget about the vibrancy of OLED as well. I mean, because I'm in the Go, like, I use my Go, and the clarity is nice. You do, like, any little menus, any little rectangles, like words, it's all a little bit sharper, and that is nice. But there is a vibrancy loss that is going on there.
I notice it every time my Pimax is broke twice, and when that's occurred, I've gone to the Samsung Odyssey, and every time I've made that transition, this is what it's felt like. Toilet paper roll is the first thing I notice. Black levels and color vibrancy is the next thing I notice, and then the subpixel arrangement. Like it almost takes a second, but like when I play a game, like when you see anything that's red or brown or orange, anything that's kind of based in that red, you're basically half resolution at that point. And it just stands out like a sore thumb to me when I look up at, I was playing Alien Isolation last time I did this, and I look up at the sun that's outside in space, or maybe it was a moon, whatever. But I could make out the dots, and this is on a Samsung Odyssey. This is one of the higher res displays of all of them out there, and that just kind of bugs me to no end. So I have to keep coming back to LCD. It doesn't win every ticking point, but it wins the ones that matter to me most.
Yeah. Okay. Another little thing we haven't mentioned here is the cameras on the front. You know, the two little cameras there, and we didn't get a ton of clarification. We know that they're basically pass-through cameras. They're like AR cameras, and it's kind of they've kind of been billed in the same way as the little slot that's on the front there, where they're basically kind of being provided to see what people can do with these things. And one thing that we did here, though, is that Valve, it kind of sounds like they're almost going to have almost like a lab 2 where they're going to have these little experiments, because apparently they have a number of experiments that they did with like AR pass through, and it's full color. Like, this is actual color. The one question I have, though, is like Oculus, I tried this. I was at GDC, I saw Pass Through Plus, and I was freaking blown away by it. I was blown away. I mean, it was black and white, but I was blown away that it looked like reality. You know what I mean? It didn't look like a fisheye or some kind of warped world that I was looking through. It looked like I was looking at the place I was at. And that's probably the number one reason I'm excited about getting a Rift S, actually, is just being able to hit a button and instantly being able to see around my room, and that they have that correction that's going on there to make it really stereoscopic and to make it really dialed in beautifully. What do you think about these cameras here? Do you think they're going to have a similar feature? Are you going to be able to hit something on the Knuckles controllers to be able to get into that? It almost sounds like, I mean, what we heard initially, like they don't have major plans for that right now.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't sound like that it's going to be a sort of on the nose feature out of the gate in the same way that Oculus is making Pass-Through Plus. But functionally, it sounds like it has a capability. Norm was saying that there was stereo overlap, that it didn't match the full fauve of the headset. So when it goes into that mode, you see more black on the sides. So I'd imagine that's something that's going to come out. Like, personally, though, like I think this is one of those things that, like, you're kind of ooh and ah, like day one, day two, day three, and then week or two in, you almost never look at it anymore. Like, I know on the Oculus headsets, like, as you approach your Guardian, it does a smooth transition from the game world into the reality world. I don't know that necessarily Steam is going to go that path. If they do, great. But I don't think it's going to be something that becomes a major staple that on everyday use case, that we care about it in the same way we care about, whether it's OLED or LCD, or whether we care, like, thumbsticks versus touchpads. Like, I think it's kind of going to become something that's in the background, and ultimately not a big deal.
Yeah. Okay. Well, why don't we talk for a second here about strategy? Because, like, I mean, when we thought about Valve, it always made sense that they would try to have a lower priced item, but this is not really a lower priced item. In fact, there's a lot of people out there that are just absolutely shocked by this price. They cannot believe it. Like, some people were believing that there was going to be an all-in-one. I thought these people were crazy, but people were out there that believed they were going to get an all-in-one bundle for like $5.99, and I thought there's no way in hell that's going to happen. But some people did think that, and so they see, oh my God, $999 for the all-inclusive bundle. That's $400 more than they were predicting. What is Valve doing here? Because they're definitely not going after mass market. What do you think?
Well, that's why, like, I was one of those people that was closer to 5.99, 6.99. Like, call me stupid, but, like, I don't see a strategy here where 9.99 is truly beneficial. I'm completely surprised, as I mentioned at the jump, that they sort of are keeping to HTC's aspect when it comes to pricing the base stations and the controllers. Now they're doing better on pricing the HMD by itself. So $999 as a price. I think they're going for the people that have a Vive or a Vive Pro and they want to upgrade. The people that were pissed off that Oculus didn't do something better with the Rift S. It doesn't sound to me like they're necessarily going after new entrants to VR. So that's a very interesting position to take. I think maybe they looked at it and they said, okay, well, if we're not $399 competing with the Rift S, then why can't we be $999? There's really not a lot in between. The Odyssey and people in chat have been saying Odyssey Plus is still viable. Odyssey Plus is still viable, and they keep saying it's viable at $299. No one says Odyssey Plus is viable at $499, which is its kind of common sell price when you don't catch it on sale. So if you go in with that mentality, you say, okay, Odysseys are $299, Rift S is $399, and then there's really nothing else until you get to Vive Pro. And there's Pimax. Pimax is expensive, and you still can't get the full bundle there. So I think in their mind, they're like, well, we might as well go full grand because that's who our consumer is. They're not going to get the Joe Schmo that's just entering VR because that guy's going to go buy the $399 Rift S. So it's an interesting strategy. I wish it was cheaper. I don't agree with the pricing of the base stations, but that's my opinion.
Do you think they're making pretty good profit off this thing, or do you think it's because they're? But what about the fact that they're new to manufacturing a product like this? This has to be a completely new ball game for them.
Well, they're gonna learn, but it's not like, so when a company and I do know manufacturing again. I don't know. My company doesn't make VR headsets, but I manufacture, and when a company starts up in manufacturing, they don't have to learn everything necessarily themselves. They're not reinventing the wheel. What they do is they go hire engineers and project managers and production managers from that's already doing it and has experience. So they don't have to start from scratch. Like they hire people that know what they're doing. I would say that, but even with that in mind, your point stands. There is some inefficiency there, and there is some aspect of the company learning. They've been making the base stations for HTC, so like the startup curve on the base stations, like they've been making them. So to me, that's not a big deal. I think of all the headsets on the market, the Valve Index is probably the most profitable.
Spaced in chat says this is made in the USA. So Trump's going to get behind this product in a major way. But here's a question for you, Steve. Will I be able to buy this at Fry's Electronics or Best Buy or any place, or am I only getting it from Valve? And the reason I asked you this question is, if I could buy this at a Best Buy or Fry's, I wouldn't even pre-order tomorrow. You know why? This thing is $1,000. So if it was at Best Buy, I could walk in on day one. They will have stock. Not everybody and their mom is dropping $1,000 on this thing, but we're probably not going to be able to buy it anywhere else, right?
Well, can you, I don't know about initially, but can you walk into a place like Fry's or Best Buy and buy a Steam controller or a Steam Link or any of those clearly Steam/Valve branded electronics? If so, then that suggests the distribution channels are in place and that Valve has already got that networking in place. So all they got to do is add a SKU and send it on. I personally, I don't know. I've never bought a Steam controller, and I did buy a Steam Link, but I bought it from Valve directly when they had one of those $1.99 sales or whatever it was. So I can't answer that question, but I think knowing whether or not you can buy any of those other products in store would be an indicator. Either way, it doesn't sound like out of the gate, May 1st tomorrow. We're assuming, I believe we can do pre-orders tomorrow, and then it says delivery by June 28th. I don't believe that you're going to get it any faster by going in stores. And if it does show up, it may be July, August, if ever.
Don't you think if you pre-order tomorrow, the one bonus to me about this $1,000 price is it separates the men from the boys from the standpoint of the fence sitters that are mildly interested in something like this. They see $999. They're like, okay, no, never mind. I'll look back in a few months. So I'm thinking there's going to be a lot less people that would like if this was $699, you might have 40% more people trying to go after this thing. Where now that it's $999, I think we're going to be able to like if you really want to get one of these, you pre-order tomorrow. I think you're going to get one of these babies.
I think so too, and I'm probably gonna do it because I'm a dummy. Like I like I mentioned on our VR roundtable on Sunday, depending on where the Fove hits, like I know it's not going to be what the Pimax offers in terms of Fove, but the now that I know it's LCD, the clarity, the overall experience, because it's a wider Fove, and it is very interesting. They didn't come out and say 135 horizontal, so will want to know where it ultimately ends up. But if it gets kind of in that space between Pimax on small and Pimax on medium, there's a lot of other advantages that it might be worth that slight faux reduction. If it is 135 horizontal, I think that's a big step up from the Rift. No question that it's a notable step up from the Odyssey and from the Vive. It could become my daily driver of VR. I'm not saying that with any kind of certainty. I have to try it, but it could be my daily driver. I think a lot of this other stuff is worth the trade-off.
This is going to be your daily driver, your daily taxi, your daily cab, everything. Because once you get used to the refresh rate and the low persistence and all of that, one of the downsides of this, I think now people are going to think I'm like some kind of Valve fanboy or something, but one of the downsides I think of this headset is it might spoil the well for everything else, where it's like I just don't like I wouldn't even want to slum it with my Oculus Quest because I'm like, oh my God, 72 hertz, the horror. I could double this on my Valve Index and I'm at 72 hertz. You know what I mean? But we might get used to like 144. Oh, and one thing about the experimental 144, they mentioned that the actual LCD displays, like they're not really capable of that fully, and so the reason they call it experimental is because like there's problems with it. And like Norm, I believe he was playing Beat Saber, and he said like every once in a while he noticed like a little glitch with I forget the exact verbiage of it all, but
Something else I didn't think of, kind of in the same vein, and I don't remember Norm talking about it in the tested video, but the actual lens quality and God rays, like that'll for sure turn me off of this headset in a heartbeat if I see God rays and glare, because I'm past that. I think with the Pimax and the Quest, assuming that it maintains it just like the Go. Like, has anybody, like, I know other people. I've only listened to the tested, and when I listened to it, I listened to it broken up because I was doing other things, so I didn't listen to it straight through. But has anybody said anything about God rays and glare? Like, I'm just totally blind to any comments on that at the moment.
I haven't heard anything about it, but left EE007 said some screen tear. That's what it was. Like the screen starts tearing at 144 hertz in certain situations. So that's why they're considering experimental, where the 120 is basically the baseline there. What about the external cosmetic look of the thing? What do you think? Like, how would you rate this in terms of like just a headset? The looks of it, like, do you think it's the ugliest one we've ever seen, the prettiest one we've ever seen? I mean, where do you line that
I
up?
don't. I don't think it's ugly. I think it's better than the HP Reverb, which probably takes the ugly VR headset award with its carpet. I mean, I think it looks kind of spacey. It looks like sort of futuristic. Um, you know, I guess it's cool. Like it looks like it goes well with the base stations. I like it better than the sort of the hard but matte plastic of the Vive and the dimples. Like I think this looks way better than that. So yeah, it's kind of in there with the PlayStation. PlayStation sort of looks futuristic-y as well. So cosmetically, I think it's fine.
Apparently, Rudel Zavedno says that Road to VR says it's got bad God rays. Some
Ugh.
reviews are saying God rays are worse than CV1.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's a big deal to me. That's a huge deal to me. Like, I'm still gonna probably buy one and at least try it. But if God Razor is that bad, like it's a non-starter. I can't do this for that. I'm
You
getting
know, it's
Knuckles
weird.
regardless. I'm getting Knuckles though, straight up. Like, there's no question there.
Yeah.
But I can't believe God Razor would be as bad as CB1. Like, that's how do they make that mistake?
I think it's something to do with the dual lenses. Like it's just a side effect of the type of lenses they're using.
Ooh, okay. Well, we're
Yeah.
get I'm getting knocked down a peg here live on the internet. Like,
You
I
know,
mean,
I
that
mean,
sucks hard for me. That sucks hard. Like, I hate that.
for me, it's not that big of a deal because I've never, like, a lot of people are like, oh my God, I tried the Go and there was like no God rays. You know, Gary is really, really big on the God rays, right? And I've never, like, I mean, I see the God rays for a minute and then I don't notice them anymore. The God rays don't bother me so much. Okay, let's talk about tomorrow, Steve. What's going to happen tomorrow? Half-Life revealed? I mean, or is it just going to be pre-orders and that it? Is that it? Are we going to get like a video from Valve that kind of explains everything with some little quick seconds of footage of some unknown games in development? Like, or is this it? Did we get the info dump? Is this the info and that's that? What happens from here?
Well, I tweeted earlier that, hey, everyone's focused on this is early this morning, and I was like, everyone's focused on FA8 and the Oculus headsets, but I want to know, about tomorrow. Has Valve announced any sort of video or a keynote or anything? And then we get the info dump. So I don't know that there's necessarily any sort of public address or somewhere where Gabe is going to trot out on stage. Like, that doesn't seem to be a thing that's happening. Maybe it will. I don't know. But it doesn't seem to be the case. So it makes me wonder if this was it, that they were very clear in saying that one of the primary VR games in 2019. So it sounds like we're only going to get one of the three. And that statement is very deliberate and not saying what that game is. So it is possible that they're holding that to tomorrow to show the what that game is. But otherwise, it may be just as simple as, hey, pre-orders are open. Go pre-order this thing.
Yeah, you know, I heard there's a. I'm on my little web browser thing right now, but I heard there's like a countdown that's counting down, and it's like last when I looked at it the last time, it was like 19 hours. So it's going to be happening like real early in the morning. You know, like for pre-orders. Like there's a pre-order countdown that's already going on. I don't know where it is, but the other thing I saw too. I don't know if you saw this, but like on one of these Valve pages, it starts showing No Man's Sky. And so like it seems like almost like No Man's Sky is almost timed to arrive on June 28th with the Valve Index. It's a pack-in. You know,
Ooh.
are we going to find out that a game is included with this? Maybe we'll find that out tomorrow.
It's possibly, but you make a good point. I did see that they were featuring No Man's Sky as part of the marketing, but suggesting that No Man's Sky is available on June 28th, that I didn't necessarily piece those two together. I like that. Like having a mental time. Of course, that just leaves me open to be disappointed. Like, I assumed I was getting a Quest today, so I probably shouldn't assume that's the case. But yeah, No Man's Sky, June 28th or thereabouts, sounds good to me.
Yeah, this is I'm on the page right now where it's showing a trailer for No Man's Sky, and I don't think it's by accident that they're showing that. But and cameras, it says sample code coming soon. I did hear that it's almost like a little lab thing. Like they're going to have some little samplers where they kind of were experimenting with those cameras. You know, the front camera slot, they say, you know, designed by makers for makers. Which is, you
Mhm.
know, Norman Chan should have asked him, "Hey, Gabe, what's up with all these little holes right here? Like, are there speakers built into the headset as well? I guess it's cooling or something." I've always wondered about these little holes. You know, the speaker girls on the front.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, so I don't know. You know, tomorrow we might get a trailer of like Cloudhead Games, the developers of Call of the Starseed and, Heart of the Emberstone and stuff, those guys seem to be really closely tied to Valve, right?
They are.
And,
Yeah.
and, and they were closely tied to the launch of the HTC Vive. And then also you have Zalubu Productions, the developer of Vertigo. He's done, he's been doing stuff. That Zach guy, I don't know if he like even works for Valve or how that thing works out there, but what I'm thinking we might see is we might see a trailer of a bunch of games that are kind of like, it's almost like Valve Index launch games in a way, like Boneworks, No Man's Sky, maybe a new game from Cloudhead Games, Zalubu Productions, and then maybe some snippets of some Valve stuff that's in development.
It's possible. I think it all boils down to if they make any sort of announcement, because I think the countdown that is referenced is just simply counting down to when the pre-orders open. It's the exact opposite of Oculus. It was like, sending out emails and Oculus software notifications and all this crap about come watch this keynote, come watch this keynote. Valve has been the opposite. They're not saying come watch anything, come attend, reserve, RSVP. Like none of that's being said, or at least that I'm noticing. Maybe I've missed something somewhere, but I feel like today was the info dump, and that maybe tomorrow is just going to be pre-orders, and that's pretty much it. I mean, that's a possibility. I think we're yearning for there to be more. We were fed this really big Thanksgiving sized plate of information, but now we've sort of parsed through it and evaluated, and now we want to know what's next, and there may not be much next until June 28th.
Okay, but let me ask you this, Steve. There's a lot of people out there that are complaining, they're crying to the high heavens about this crazy high price. How could Valve do this to us? How could they do this? $1,000, they got to be crazy. And then in Europe, it's even more expensive and they're just getting screwed over there, right? But my question is there something Valve can do that could shut everybody the hell up? And it's it's 2 letters and a number, right?
Oh, Half-Life 3. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that make things worse. Like, I really think this pricing is a little is too high. I would have loved to have seen it lower, and that's a big hang up for me to get over. Not personally, because I can overcome it. I'm more worried about the God rays now myself, but just for everyone else and for all the consumers and all the VR fans out there, like I am bummed by this price, and I don't know what they can do. I don't think they're going to do anything. I think even you were talking about it with Sebastian yesterday. It was like I don't think that they're going to do anything in the mainstream Half-Life. Like a spinoff makes perfect sense, but like a Half-Life sequel or a successor, Half-Life 3, whatever, like to do that in VR only, like that would be a big the fact that the game exists in any way would be a big deal. And if they locked it down to VR, like I could see a lot of people getting really pissed off and them really kind of burning bridges with their rabid core fan base.
Yeah, but unless we see whatever game it is and we're just looking at it and we're like, oh, oh my God. You know what I mean? And it's just like, okay, fine. Here's all my money. I'm freaking trading my car in. I got to do whatever I got to do to make this thing happen. One thing Norman Chan mentioned is the Valve Index controllers are the only controllers currently known that can do full on rock, paper, scissors. Did you hear that
Yeah.
part?
Yeah, I mean, I don't plan on playing rock, paper, scissors in VR. I'm very much looking forward to the controllers, if for anything, so I can finally start playing games that I'm purposely holding out because I can't stand the Vive wands. Like, I quit playing Skyrim. I quit playing Invisible Hours. I quit playing a lot of games. I'm just like, I'm going to wait for the Knuckles. So I really, really look forward to the controllers just so I can have a good controller with my Pimax. Because, yeah, the Vive wands are trash. And sorry, anyone in chat or listening to this that loves their Vive wands, I can't stand them.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the base stations right now, and it shows the base, it shows one of these base stations on like a little stand that's like on like a little table. I thought they always had to be like really high up in the air and aimed down at you, unless they're just kind of like showing, kind of giving you a different look at it there.
It's
Uh,
it's it's better for occlusion to be up high because when you're up high and looking down, you get you have more coverage from occlusion with the controllers and everything. It's not to say that it won't work, especially like if you have 3 or 4, because it's one of the benefits of Steam 2.0 is that you can add more than 2 lighthouses. You augment with more, then that gives you more flexibility to place them down low or hide them in a cranny somewhere without having to put them up high.
so you're in a situation right now. I mean, technically, you could just order that headset, and you love those Vive wands, so you're good to go, right?
Right, right. No, I would get the headset and controller bundle, which I think is 750 US. Still crazy.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind getting more base stations, but and it's a little bit of a discount because if you buy the base stations by themselves, they're 150 each. But the bundle pricing, they're giving you a $50 discount, so you get $250 more. You get 2 base stations. Yeah, it's not worth that if you already have it. And I feel for most people, um, a lot of noise was made about Steam 2.0 tracking, and I think for the average consumer, like or even the average enthusiast, the benefits really don't amount to much. It kind of gets there like if you have a bunch of trackers and crap on your feet and legs and guns accessories and stuff, then there's some benefits there, but I think for the average person, like Steam 1.0 base stations are more than ample for the job.
Regarding the base stations, I kind of wish, like, wouldn't this be sweet if the base stations had some type of battery that was inside it that you had to charge once a quarter, and it was it like all you had to charge it 4 times a year, and so there'd be no wires going to the thing whatsoever. That'd be kind of cool, huh?
It would be, but yeah, that would be an impressive battery.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, so I don't know. And the base stations, you can have 4 of them. I mean, it talks about how you could have 4 of these babies because if it says add a third base station to cover a tricky spot in your room. If you need even more space, add a fourth base station to expand your play area up to 10 by 10 meters, which is crazy. That's huge.
Yeah, VR Spry Guy says it still boggles my mind that 2.0 base stations are $150. They said they would be cheaper to manufacture because they use less moving parts, and they do. They have one less motor. They should technically be cheaper to manufacture. And again, going by what I know, I'm repeating myself. The fact that they're not selling these to HTC, who is then in turn selling them to you, but in fact you're buying them directly from Valve. Yeah, these things should be considerably cheaper than 150, but they're not.
Here's a guy that's drinking out of his shoe if he's wrong about the index. He's hoping to get a free one with the guy that ate his sock. Let's see. Yeah, pre-order. I'm looking at the prices and stuff. Like I still haven't honestly all of this stuff. I was working today and like I still haven't had a chance to like completely sit down and take all of this stuff in. Like I'll probably have a lot more thoughts tomorrow when I've had a
Sounds like I
chance to
need to go read the Road to VR write up
article.
on it
Yeah.
because yeah, in a way, I hope we were talking about trolls earlier. I could see someone just coming in here and trolling. Oh, I think it was Paradise Decay that actually said that that was in the Road to VR article. So hopefully he's not trolling.
All right. Well, is there any last minute thoughts or any other things you want? I mean, we've almost spent the entire episode talking about the Valve
Well,
Index.
I
There
mean,
was some other stuff that happened today, but
that's really where the news was. What else happened? Like the pre-orders for the Oculus headset. The news today was the Valve Index information, and the only thing is I didn't see. They're saying DisplayPort 1.2, but I think I saw somewhere listed reference to a virtual link option. I need to clarify that because I think it would be pretty cool to have. Like, we made a big deal about Virtual Link, and it's cool. NVIDIA's got them on the RTX cards, but if no headset starts using it. Like the standard is never going to take off if it's the whole chicken and egg thing. Like no one wants to put them on their headset because of cost. But I hope maybe the index does that. It's not that it matters. It's not a big deal. It's not going to change the way the screens look or anything like that. But it would be nice for Virtual Link to start getting out there.
I don't know if you saw this. I'm on Upload VR. I was just going to try to quickly look at some of the other news that hit. So Apex Construct, they actually reviewed the Oculus Quest version of this game 21 days early. Is this kind of odd? Kind of weird?
I mean,
they gave it an 8 out of 10.
They got 50 games to get through, so maybe they'll do 1 or 2 reviews a day between now and people actually getting their hands on these.
Just seems so weird to review it. So, see, that's one of the things where it's like, okay, look, we're not going to get free stuff in all likelihood, because it would already came today. Like I should have got home to my house. I should have saw a box from Oculus, right? Now they don't even have my address. But the thing is, like, if I could contact somebody at Oculus and pay the money to get a Quest now and have like all the reviews embargoed and stuff where I could be playing Quest games and doing footage and, writing things up and just,
that would have been like 2 weeks ago or 3 weeks, however long people have had them. The embargo's up today. Yeah. Because of the so like you're free, people are free to talk about it if you had one, but I agree with you. Like it would be nice if they could say, and it's not just Oculus, same thing apply to Valve, Sony, anybody, but it would be kind of nice to say, look, we're not looking for free crap here. Like here, we'll pay you for your device, just like, we're making videos and content, and like, we'd like to get our hands on these instead of waiting, because then you get these places like Upload and Road to VR, and it becomes a cycle of success, and it becomes a cycle where people keep going to them because they get the first dibs on it. And I don't know, like it's just kind of, it is weird how the stuff is chosen, and it's not like either of the channels, VR Roundtable, VR365 are huge, but we are out there, and there's 200 people at some point watching this. I think it stuck on me at 193, so that is a voice. So it's weird that they do this, but I don't know, I guess I'm just kind of venting about it. Like I don't really care that much, but like it's just It is kind of weird.
They do have a breakdown here of the sizes of these Quest games. Apex Construct 1.3 gigs, Ballista 1.9 gigs, Dance Central pretty big at 2.6 gigs, Face Your Fears 2.2 gigs. A lot of them are very small. Super Hot 1.8 gig, Racket Fury 1.2 gigs, Space Pirate Trainer 1.4. Was that confirmed?
Did they say how much was available? With no games installed, like just with the so 64 gigs, like how much do you actually have to work with? 50 or 55? Like that kind of makes a difference too. But I really do think it boils down to also video. Like if you're gonna put movies on there, like those things 8, 9, 10 gigs, and that really chew your space up. If you're only gonna put games on there, you'll go further than if you do video.
Creed Rise to Glory, they got a review for it. Wow, I can't believe they're doing all these reviews. And they're saying Quest tracking hurts gameplay. Visuals and performance suffer in Quest port. So that's interesting. I don't like this. I don't know. I don't like reviews. So I want to see a review 3 weeks before I can play the game. I don't know. That bothers me for some reason.
Well, they have to though. Like because what are they going to do? Put 50 reviews up on May 21st?
Yeah, but you know what? Facebook, see the whole thing where they had to have 50 titles and all of that. That could be, honestly, that whole thing could be the reason why we're waiting till May 21st, because some of these things might be coming in hella hot, and that maybe they wanted to bring, like maybe the reason we never got a release date is they were hoping to come out earlier, and they, maybe the plan was to release at F8, but these games are coming in too hot. They wouldn't have had their 50 titles, and so I don't know. But I'm not a huge fan of these reviews coming way early. The Oculus Touch thing. They made a comment here. I don't know if you saw this, but they were talking about the Oculus Touch control, the new Oculus Touches, right, for the Rift S and also the Quest. And they were saying there's a couple of downsides to this. That basically that little Oculus menu button, that you're going to accidentally hit that a hell of a lot more with these controllers compared to standard Oculus Touch controllers. There was a couple of other little minor things they mentioned here. Half a step forward, half a step back. They were saying for the most part, the tracking ring is kept out of the way, but not entirely. If you do a thumbs up gesture, you might find your thumb knocking against the top of the ring. In fact, you can reach any part of the ring with your thumb very easily. If you're like me, you're a bit of a fidget, you'll miss the freedom the original's bottom ring afforded you. Blah, 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 blah. Battery, the battery cover pops off. People were talking about that for a while.
I think people complain, myself included. Sometimes the battery cover was hard. Like it's not that it was hard or that it took strength. That it took a certain when you change your batteries in your touch controllers. Remember how sometimes you gotta, or maybe you've always been good at it. But I think maybe I know people have complained about the battery covers. So it sounds like maybe they made a change, but then overcorrection now change in the wrong direction.
Yeah, pretty crazy, man. This is just crazy, crazy, crazy.
So you asked about me. Are you getting an index?
Oh, absolutely. I got to. Oh, whoops! I'm in the wrong screen here. Okay. Yeah. I'm definitely gonna get an index. I mean, well, I'm gonna pre-order the thing.
Are you gonna pre-order tomorrow?
I guess, yeah. I'd like to buy it from an actual store, but I don't think. Oh, here's what I didn't mention. Guess what? The index just got a hell of a lot more expensive, ladies and gentlemen, because I was listening to MRTV and Sweeviver today. They had a little stream. And one of the things that Sweeviver brought up, and it was a very good point, he says, if you bought anything from Valve, they charge a hell of a lot to ship it to you. He was talking about buying like a Steam Link box or something from Valve, and like that the shipping is kind of redonkulous. And so here we're getting a headset, a big ass box. They might charge like $50, just like, so, you're going to pay tax. You're going to pay $1,000, you're going to pay tax, and then you also might be paying like damn near $50 for the shipping charge. See, Oculus ships it to you for free, right? I think.
I don't know. I've never bought anything directly from Oculus. I will say, to Sebastian's point, or Sweeviver's point, whoever made it, when I bought that Steam Link for $1.99 on one of the Steam sales, it was like $8 to ship it. So my total cost for the Steam Link was like $9, $10. And I remember thinking like, hold on, I thought this was $2. Now I'm like $10 in. I say it's still cheap for what it was, and it was just another gadget to have. So I wasn't too worried about that. But I do remember distinctly thinking, hey, this shipping is probably more than it should be. And it's kind of felt a little bit like buying something off of eBay, where it's like, buy this subwoofer for $10, but it's $100 to ship it. So it really didn't cost the dude $100 to ship it. So it's like, your total all-in price is how, they make up with the shipping. So it does feel a little bit that way, but I don't know that they'll go as high as, if they charge at all, I don't know if they'll go as high as 50 like that.
Yeah,
that
but like
crazy.
30, 35 or, it's not going to be super cheap. Those boxes are pretty big.
Just Bacon in chat says, no, Oculus charged me $33 to ship my Quest.
Ah. And the Quest, did you see how small the Quest box was? It was tiny, and it's got all the same shit that's in the Rift S box, but it's like half the size. It was weird how they did that.
Amazon ships for free, Just Bacon, if you just want to change your pre-order to there, because I didn't pay anything extra for shipping.
Well, you got to have Prime or something, right?
I do have Prime. Yeah. People don't have Prime? Who doesn't have Prime?
Some people out there, yeah. I think we have it as well. Yeah, see, the one thing I will say, though, is like the pricing of all this, the Rift S might be a casualty of war for me, because I'm buying the Quest regardless, and I'm buying Index regardless. But the Rift S, I wanted to buy the Rift S because my strategy with the Rift S is buy it, use it for like 2 months, and then make a decision. Either I'm keeping the regular OG Rift or I'm keeping the Rift S, and I put the other one on eBay, and I can take my sweet time. I can, enjoy it for a couple of months. I'll take a hit, obviously I'll take a major hit when I sell it, but it's not that big of a deal, right? But now that I got to pay $1,000 for the Valve Index, see, my thumbnail ain't no joke. Will work for Valve Index. I need to make a little cardboard sign right here and say, PayPal donations, everybody. Yay! we
Yeah.
we got to hit up that super chat, on our roundtable shows.
Yeah, it's an expensive time, but I don't know. I think this could be it though. We get on the other side of the index, and then I don't feel like we're going to be throwing money at hardware again for a while. Like now there may be controllers or peripherals or something that we want to buy, things like PSVR aim controllers or something. But I feel I don't know what else could be on the horizon. Well, you got Vive Cosmos, but I got straight up like I'm not I'm not like thinking of the Vive Cosmos. Like that thing better walk on water and be 299 for me to be like even thinking of another Vive product. So what else could there be now once we get on the other side of Quest, Rift S, and Index? There's do you vision there being anything else for any time soon?
Google Stadia Vision. No, Sweeviver at the very end of the stream with MRTV, Sweeviver was like, because they were joking about, how much money they're spending and how this is going to be so incredibly expensive and it's so crazy and everything. And Sweeviver was like, we're not done yet. There's more headsets coming. He's like, I can't talk about it, but there's more headsets coming. You might want to listen to the last like 10 minutes of that MRTV Sweeviver.
I mean, he's been doing that thing with Xtol, so and maybe that might be what he's
Yeah.
referring to. But yeah, I mean,
Well, there could
it's
be.
a dangerous habit or a dangerous industry to become an enthusiast in because, like, if you're a big PC gamer, like you can't go past a 2080 Ti really. I mean, yeah, you can get to one of those Titan whatevers that are stupid for no really more performance, but like you can't really go past an i9 and a 2080 Ti and like it's your ceiling, although there's updates every year or whatever, your ceiling is pretty well understood. But right now in VR, it's more closer to the Wild West, where eh, any day someone could announce something that you really want, and we really have to get to a point where that there aren't such these big differences between them. Where I want to get to a point where a new headset is announced and it's just not so radically different that I want to go out and buy it. Like when a new computer monitor is announced, I don't care, right? Like it's not going to do that much more. But these headsets are all so different. It makes me want to get them all. And yeah, I look forward to the day when that's no longer a thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's eventually going to plateau. It's going to plateau, and we're going to hit a certain level of technology for a while, and it'll kind of like. But we're so early. It's so early in the game that, like, as amazing as this headset is, like the technology that it has with the higher refresh rate, the low persistence, and all that. There's no eye tracking. There's no foveated rendering. So we got that shoe that still has to drop. What about
That's true.
Oculus? Like when we get to Oculus Connect 6, do you think are they going to have any kind of response for this, or they're just going to let Valve have the high end and they're just going to concede the high end to Valve?
I think they're going to concede the high end of Valve for now. I do think I think their interest is on standalone. I think that was very clear, and that's one thing we didn't talk about really was so at OC5, Zuckerberg goes out on stage and he does we have Go, we have Rift, and we have Quest, and it sort of showed the order of them. I think left to right. It looked like they said Rift was the top, was the flagship, Go was the entry. But these new Best Buy kiosks that are out there now, it's very clear and very conscious
Yeah,
that
the one on top.
the Quest is on top. Quest is like their flagship now, and in part is because Rift S isn't very revolutionary, but also I think it's in part because strategically they would rather it succeed. All that being said, I don't think Oculus is done with PC VR by any stretch. I do think that there will be an Oculus Rift 2, and that maybe some of that half dome prototype stuff creaks in, and that will be cool. But I don't think that's going to even be talked about in any way necessarily at OC6. Now they may talk about another prototype or something like that. That's possible, but I think we're fall of 2020 at best before we can really start getting excited. Really, probably into 2021 about any sort of Rift 2 that goes more towards a higher end.
Yeah, yeah. Alrighty, well, we've been going quite a while here. It's been a busy couple of days, a lot of long live streams, a lot of guests. Man, I just had the Primordian dev on Sunday, MRTV yesterday, Steve today. Who will be the mystery guest tomorrow? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and call this one. Steve, really absolutely appreciate you coming on. This was kind of a last minute thing, but really awesome. Actually, this worked out wonderfully for me because you had a lot of information on this as well, and I'm just kind of catching up to it. And I know there's like trailers of like other games and stuff that have hit today, and I haven't even checked any of that out. So I'll have to get into all of that tomorrow. It'll be kind of nice to return to a bit of normalcy for a little while up until like May 21st, and then of course June 28th and all of that. But man, this is such a crazy thing that we're in right about now.
Yep, and glad to come on. Also, in part, as a sort of a preview for VR Roundtable, I might not make our next episode. So this actually let me get some index talk out this week while it's all noisy, and then you guys can follow up on Sunday for the normal episode. So I probably won't make that. So it's kind of a double whammy. I'm glad to be able to talk index.
Awesome. All right, Steve. Well, that'll go ahead and do it. I absolutely appreciate it, and I'll be talking to you soon on Reddit or wherever.
All right.
Okay,
Bye.
take it easy. All righty, guys. Well, that's basically going to go ahead and do it. Let me go ahead and get my screen situated here, and I got to redo my window. But thanks everybody in chat. I really appreciate it. Sorry that I was not getting actual chat comments and stuff. I would have liked to have done a little bit more of that, but there's just so much information. There's so much stuff to think about. Millions of questions. Oh my God. We're going to be, we've got a treasure trove of like stuff to talk about over the coming weeks, because we're going to be able to consider everything here. Like there's a lot of negatives. Like the Valve Index has its share of negatives. I'm going to be able to make a list of all the negatives about the Valve Index. And I mean, all these headsets, they're going to have positives, they're going to have negatives, and we've got to take a look at all of it. We got to look at the prices, we got to look at the controllers, the games. One thing I didn't mention is the cord. Apparently the cord for the Valve Index is only 5 meters. Bro, what's up with that? We're definitely going to need an extension cord. Like that's not long enough. We need a longer cord. That was something I didn't even mention, but yeah, we're definitely, we've got a million things to talk about over the next, I don't know how many days. We've got freaking reviews of Quest games already, which I think is kind of crazy, but, apparently that's how it's happening. Oculus, hit me up, man. info@vrgamerankings.com. I will pay the money for a Quest. I want to review Quest games. Can I review Quest games? I will buy it. I'll pay for your headset. I really will. Valve, hook me up. info@vrgamerankings.com. Man, my thumbnail image is crazy, huh? And look, I do not want to take like homelessness or anything. I'm not making fun of that. That's not what this is about. I thought of a funny thing and I still think it's hilarious. I thought of a funny thing and I think it's freaking funny, but it's not meant, I'm not trying to like poke fun at homelessness or people that are really in that kind of situation. All of us are like a couple of months of very unfortunate events from being in a situation where we have no food, no place to live. And, all of us are hanging by a string. Dramatic things could happen, freaking stock market chaos, the entire economy could just collapse. You watch some of these conspiracy theorists and they'll say like that the US dollar is going to be worth like a penny. It's not going to be worth the paper it's printed on, and so if you believe any of those things, like all of us are minutes away from being in a horrible situation. So I'm not trying to make fun of that at all. Not at all. That it was just a funny little thing. And whatever, I did it, but, I still think it's friggin' hilarious. I still think it's absolutely hilarious. And it's a true statement. I will stream for a Valve Index. And that's really what I'm doing here. So PayPal, Patreon, those donations are awesome, bros, because I'll tell you what, those donations, they are going to contribute to paying the shipping costs from Bellevue, Washington, to get a box to come here from Bellevue, Washington. You know, that $35 shipping cost, the tax, freaking headphones for a Quest, or, you know, the carrying case. Did you see the nice carrying case that Virtual Reality Oasis Mike had? You know, these things need to be paid with money, right? Oculus Quest carrying cases do not grow on trees. So your Patreon support, your PayPal donations, so incredibly awesome. I appreciate it tremendously. But yeah, that's going to go ahead and do it for this particular episode. Another crazy long episode. I think we're going to return to like 1 hour episodes pretty soon here, guys. I'm looking forward to that. It'll be like a cakewalk compared to these last couple of days. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'll see everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow, our show time is 2 p.m. So Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific is the show time on Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So a little bit crazy hours lately, but yeah, we're going to be back to 2 p.m. Pacific. But that's going to go ahead and do it. I'm not going to eat a sock. I know I should have eaten a sock. I would have got a free goddamn Quest. And now this guy's drinking out of his shoe. He's going to get a free Valve Index. Gabe is going to contact him personally and say, don't drink out of that shoe. Here's your free index. Just don't drink out of that shoe, whatever you do. I'll eat a sock, I'll eat a Barbie sock, like a Barbie doll sock. That's about the biggest sock I'll eat. But yeah, I'm out of here, guys. See you tomorrow, 2 p.m. Pacific time. Have a wonderful, crazy Tuesday. I'll see you guys May 1st, y'all. May 1st. I'll see you guys then. Take it easy. Later. And this thing doesn't want to sign out for me. So I'm still live. I'm still live, folks, apparently, because this will not stop. Let's see. Live control room. Ooh, wait, no, go back. Ah, damn, the same thing happened to me yesterday. All right, well, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, here we go. Stop streaming. Can we stop streaming? Bonus content, you guys. This is the Patreon supporters bonus content right here.